I don't know if I'm live or not. I guess I won't know until someone gets on. So, I'm just going to say that this is the beginning of me attempting to share all the information that I have accumulated over the past few years. And it all began with January 6th. That turned my world upside down when I saw right before me a coup take place. And the people I thought were my government were not. And it was very scary to me. And I came home determined to figure out how the powerful had manipulated the masses through time. Wow, what a rabbit hole. I began with the things I knew most, with JFK, and I looked into everything I could find about that. And it began to unravel. That was such a home run for me because I remember the specific day when he was shot, and we heard about it. And then, you know, as you get older and put two and two together, you begin to realize that things just don't add up. So that was the beginning of that. One by one, I just uncovered more and more about the country that I would never, ever have believed if I hadn't looked with my very own eyes. And interesting, I was doing Lumosity, which is a brain game that keeps you up to date. I did that every day. And one of the great things about it is that it will tell you what you're good at based on the games that you've played. And I worked at it, I'm sure I did it for at least 6 to 7 years. And found out when I looked at what my game strengths were, researcher and development was one of them. And I realized that all the jobs that I'd had in the past had two things in common. One was that it required me to really do some research because I was in charge of turning companies over that were not doing well. So I had to figure things out and be a good troubleshooter. And then the other thing they had in common was there was always something hidden that kept the company from doing well that I ended up being in the position of outing. And so it seemed like I was a detective all the time, whether I wanted to be or not. And so one by one, I got more discouraged about what I found out about our real history as opposed to what we've been taught. And I came to realize that the books had been changed. I started on a hunt for old books. I always loved old books to begin with and had several, but I just made it my business. I loved going into thrift stores, so I made it my business to look for old books. And I found the most incredible things there. I'm telling you what. I found in science book, actually it was in an Indian book, it talked about the Earth Ages. It was incredible. It talked about how every 12,900 years we have cataclysms or catastrophes, and how that had happened 6 times. Now, tell me, did you ever read that in your history book? I don't remember having read it. And then you we're Christians, so you get to the point where you just take the Bible for rote. That's what it is. And everything, once you become a Christian, you're a sheep. And so they begin to herd you, and the only place that it's really acceptable for you to look for information is in the Bible. Well, guess what? That's a hoax. Crazy. Now, how did I find that out? Crazy stuff. First of all, let me go back to the United States. At the same time, you'll begin to see how God put this together. It was supernatural for me to do this. The only reason I figured all this out was because my passions are so diverse. And so one thing led to the other. I mean, God really connected the dots. I just did what I did. And I do everything hard, or to the max, as they used to say. So I was looking into Jamestown because that's where my ancestors came from, or a lot of them. And as I did that, well, first I uncovered that I thought we were from, my grandparents grew up in Appalachian Mountains in West Virginia. So, hey, what do you expect? I figured we were the crooks they sent over here to pay duty or something. I didn't know. And I didn't want to look because I didn't have high expectations at all. Well, when I started looking, I figured we were quite something. Both sides of my family were great contributors to the revolution, to the founding of the country, and to all kinds of things. And so that was very cool. So, I'm losing my train of thought here. Let me,